And you've seen the downfall of Congress and liberal Lutyens media, of which NDTV became the face, and you as an employee of NDTV also became the face of this liberal media that must be brought down, that is corrupt, that is too close to power, cemented with the Radia tapes, where the central question was, why were you so close to power? Even though you've said many times that, stories were not changed, stories were not manipulated. Judge the stories independently of how I spoke to my source. And it's true that a lot of beat reporters, friends of mine who do beat reporting, would say that, dude, we talk to sources, in many ways. Yeah. We want to get that information out. And we'll say 5 useless things to get that one piece of information out. And after Radia's, when we realize, okay, now we need to be careful how we talk to our sources. Because,
and I can bet you they still talk in the same way though.
So there's that aspect of it, which you've covered and which everyone's debated on and on. But there's this aspect of, even the worst critics of Arnab would say that, look, NDTV was this space which was a cozy club. You had to look a certain way, speak a certain way, be connected to a certain family to rise in that ecosystem. Arnab was this guy, you could look anyway, you could talk anyway, you could come from nowhere and he'd give you space. And you didn't have to be a connected elite to rise in that system, which is what you say almost about the, BJP in that sense, that you don't have to, the Congress, it doesn't have to work like in the Congress that you need to be connected. You rise, you can be a nobody and then rise up.
Yeah.
So, how do you view this now? One, you and NDTV as this face of Lutyens elite. Do you think there's some merit in this criticism for NDTV and the world of NDTV?
Okay, there's a bunch of questions in there. Let's tackle the Radia tapes. If you want my honest feeling, although I think it's so wasteful to talk about it, but since we are talking about it, I actually think that I was way too apologetic about explaining to every person who asked me and judging me. I would totally, I believed what I said then. I was talking to a source and the source was going to tell me, what a certain party was thinking about joining government or not.
Let me talk to him, talking to Ghulam. Did you really go and speak to Ghulam Nabi Azad?
No. And Ghulam Nabi issued a statement which nobody cared about, saying she never called me. The last time I spoke to her was when I was Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir.
That I saw.
So ironic that Mr. Vinod Mehta apparently writes in his book about how he was lunching with Mr. A. Raja and he admired his safari suit. And I've never even met the man that Vinod Mehta accused me of lobbying for. But Vinod Mehta has been out to lunch with him. I don't see anybody tapping Mr. Mehta's phones or giving us a piece-by-piece account of Vinod Mehta's lunch with A. Raja. If you think journalists, politicians, corporates, people who you cultivate as sources for information do not talk like this, I think you have had recently Mr. Arnab Goswami's own WhatsApp chats leaked. You have had recently a former India Today correspondent's chats or phone call leaked when she went to Hathras.
But we criticized that, right?
You criticized the leak, you didn't criticize the content.
We did.
No, this is the problem.
Content. We had long pieces on why that content was problematic.
And I'm saying that all of it is problematic, and the journalists of India did this to themselves by judging other journalists on the Radia tapes. We have forever given away our right to privacy of conversation with the source. We have demolished it, because you can't be the person who got all judgy on the Radia tapes and, M.K. Venu, Barkha Dutt, Veer Sanghvi, and many other people who are on those tapes, Navika,
Navika was also there.
I think Rohini. There's so many journalists, it's just that only 3 of us, got highlighted, maybe Venu, Veer and me. But you can't be all judgy about, ye conversation hai. But today, let no one listen in on my conversation. Let no one listen in on my what. It doesn't work both ways. We made, I think the only person who actually made this point at that time was Shekhar Gupta. We made as an industry, when I say we, as an industry, we made a fatal error because we saw it as an excuse just to pull down our competitors. That's what it was.